All right, so I'm currently on the phone with Suki Ray. She's another musician that reached out about the current interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the chance to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Suki Ray. I've been performing music, or playing music since the age of 5. And I just came out September 8th with my 9th recording, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. That's awesome. Thanks for joining me. So with these interviews, I always kind of like to figure out how somebody started with music. When was the first moment that music made an impact on you and made you want to pursue it and have it in your life?
Well, my mother was a classically trained pianist. And when I was 5 years old, there was a huge piano. The piano kind of dominated the living room and dominated our lives. We were steeped in classical music. We were only allowed to listen to classical music. And I remember at the age of 5, joining my mother on the piano bench. And she didn't formally give me lessons, but she did give me some lessons. And then at the age of about 9 or 10, I went to a relative's house, and I always joke that I'm called Secondhand Rose because I used to get secondhand clothes from the relative, and the relative had a flute in the basement and said, "We don't need the flute anymore." And basically, I didn't think twice. I thought, okay, I'll try that. And that's the end of it.
Okay.
And that music, that instrument's taken me pretty much around the world. And that's kind of the story. And I joke around, people say, did you have a shaker or a castanet, whatever it's called, a shaker in your cradle? I said, no, I had a flute instead of a shaker. But that's what it feels like that.
So tell me a bit about that kind of process. Once you kind of realized that was just going to be the instrument you were going to have for the rest of your life, what was kind of the learning process there? Did you do any sort of the school curriculum, concert band or marching band or anything like that?
Yes, I did. The first thing I did was I didn't hire, my parents did. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. So I was in Chicago at the time, and actually then we moved to a suburb called Skokie. I started taking lessons with a gentleman who had me practice on Coke bottles. So I basically we would call them pop in the Midwest in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I would blow across these bottles, and I was supposed to learn how to blow and take a big breath and blow, and that's how I began. And that gradually turned into lessons with that gentleman, then lessons with 2 members of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, which led to band, orchestra, musical competitions in which I was a soloist and an ensemble player, and I won a lot of blue medals, which was the highest. We'd play classical literature, and I basically played through grade school and high school and college and until now.
Okay, so you kind of got into some of the competitive circuits as well.
Yes. However, I've been in many forms of music. As I say, I began in classical music, but I wound up in kind of my own genre or multi-genre of genres of music, in that I play and sing and play piano and write and produce and all types of music. So I began in classical, but eventually I abandoned that.
Okay. Tell me about how that kind of manifested into your early adult years. So once you were out of school, how did you continue to keep music in your life?
Well, I was doing music and theater in college, and I was also performing professionally, I think from college, maybe late high school and into college. And especially when I moved, I graduated Berkeley, not Berkeley School of Music, Berkeley, UC Berkeley in California. When I lived in California, so I was in my maybe 3rd year of college or 2nd year, I began playing the flute in restaurants. I got restaurant gigs. And then I began something which is called busking, B-U-S-Q-U-I-N-G. So one of my first jobs was I got a permit to play in a place in San Francisco called Ghirardelli Square. So we'd perform basically in a very famous shopping mall. We'd play classical music and popular music duets. and we'd get paid for it. And I would live, I would get paid, you know, use the money we made during the summers, and I got jobs in restaurants, etc. That's how I started playing popular music or music for pay.
Okay. And so tell me more about playing professionally at that level. Are you talking about in state orchestras, city orchestras, chamber halls? Just give me a little bit more context.
No, not at all. I mean, I started out in orchestral music, but then I shifted to more popular music. The last couple of years of college, I got into playing. I don't know how I began, but I started listening to musicians on the radio and playing I realized I could play by ear. And I began to play popular songs in addition to classical songs. But this was not, after college, I really wasn't playing in that many orchestras or classical contexts. I was playing in popular contexts. And then when I first moved to New York, after living in California and graduating in California, I came to New York to go to NYU Theater and Film School. I was performing once again music, more popular music. I first began performing music again as a street musician. We made a fortune doing that. We'd play. I played with a classical harp player, and or other musicians, and we just make a lot of money in the streets, which graduated to clubs, concerts, etc. But that was really my introduction, playing in the streets.
That's great. That's a very organic and bootstrap way to kind of build your career. That's awesome.
Right.
So tell me about what kind of the next step was there. Did you ever have ambitions to join a band or record anything? What was kind of your hopes out of all that?
Okay, so what happened was, as I kind of shifted the genre from classical to popular music, I started writing songs, which I had been writing poetry my whole life, but it never occurred to me to put them poetry to music. So I started writing songs, and then I tried to get these songs. I got them on radio stations, and I also began playing in clubs in California. And I started playing not only pop songs, but my own songs. And I played in some kind of well-known places with some well-known people mostly in Berkeley, California. Then I came to Vermont, and I started getting into jazz. And I went to a very famous place called Bennington College Jazz Lab, where a lot of well-known jazz musicians were. And I shifted into playing jazz music. But then I was always writing. I was very active in writing my own songs. And at that point, I was in my early 20s. I thought I wanted to be like Joni Mitchell. That was my aim. My aim was to be a singer-songwriter and to have success with the songs and with the singing and playing.
Awesome. So where does that bring you to now? What are you up to? What are you working on?
Well, right now, September 8th, I came out with my 9th recording, and it's called A Slice of Moon. And it was released September 8th on major platforms, including Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Apple, Amazon, etc. And I'm going to have a CD release party where I'm performing in a club in New York. I've been living in New York on and off for years. And I'm pretty excited about that. And all the music, the recordings I have, all 9 are all, 8 of them are original music, and 1 recording is Christmas songs, because I was in a program in New York called Music Under New York, and for a number of years on and off, which is sort of glorified busking, but we had a permit to perform in places such as Grand Central Station. So my guitarist and I played Christmas songs so much that I have 1 recording of Christmas songs.
Funny. Okay, so you're playing with other musicians then as well with the current sets that you're doing?
Oh, yes. I've been playing in bands for years, different groups. I've been playing as a side person with other groups, many groups. But also through the years, I think when I the first few years I came to New York, I after playing with other bands, I thought, this is not really what I want to do. I wanted to play my music. So I then began having my own bands. So I basically had my own band for, I guess, 30 years or thereabouts. I've had my own bands. So it's bands which, I mean, we play popular music, but we also play my music.
Sure, sure. Awesome. So, tell me some of your favorite memories that stand out to you in all of the time that you've been playing music in various different iterations. What are the memories you have that kind of are prominent and like keep you motivated to continue to participate in music?
One of my favorite memories is I've done 8 music residencies in various locations in the world, which include 2 in Israel, 1 in Spain, 1 in Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado, 1 in New Mexico, 1 at Cornell University, etc. So one of my most interesting memories is when I was living in the Middle East in Israel, and I created this big concert, which was being held at an art museum in a town called Arad in the desert. And the night of the concert, the lights went out. So the town was completely without lights. And I'll just never forget that. And I got these musicians from another town to play with me, which was kind of revolutionary since there were no black musicians allowed that had ever played in the town. But I got black musicians called the Black Hebrews who came and played, but the lights went out, so we were not going to do the concert. But about an hour and a half later, the lights went on, and we did the concert. It was just very exciting. Another example is somehow I got connected with the rock band Oasis, and I was chosen with a few other people in Music Under New York to be in a documentary film with them. I've been a lot of radio and TV, stuff like that. I've also done some acting and TV and film, nothing major, but minor. So, I've been, the media aspect has been kind of exciting, hearing my music on WNYC's New Sounds, etc. It's hard for me to remember one performance that is the most memorable or notable. That's kind of hard. I can't think of one.
Sure, that's very cool that you've had so much exposure to everybody else in the industry as well. On that note, where can people find you? Where can they check out your stuff and the new album you put out?
Okay, so my main website is www.sukiatry, S as in Sam, Ukiatry, which is like, instead of a psychiatrist, I'm a psychiatrist. So it's sukiatry.com, which is my main website. But my music is on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Amazon. Bandcamp is where it can be purchased, mainly Bandcamp, SoundCloud. But you just look for Suki Ray or Sukiatry. Actually, there's a few other Suki Rays, so I would say Sukiatry, Sukiatry, and Suki Ray, a picture of me playing a flute, because there are other Suki Rays. One is a DJ and one is a model in London. But there aren't any other Suki Rays that play the flute and look like me.
Excellent, excellent. All right. So I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So a message in general that you want to throw out there.
A message is, E.E. Cummings has a quote, "To be yourself and nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best day and night to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle a human being can fight and never stop fighting." So the whole thing, which you've heard from a billion musicians and you'll hear from me, is just stay true to yourself and hit your wagon to the stars. Just pursue your path. It's only yours, and you might as well.